Fam, let's get to our boy Bernard Sanders, right? Is that where you want to go?
So we've seen the smears on Tulsi, on progressives, on independents, and we're also seeing the smears on Bernie Sanders. Not only are they criticizing him for being anti-war, because apparently being anti-war is now, it's a bad thing now. Politico wrote about 37 articles talking about Bernie's finances, mocking the fact that how dare he be a socialist? How dare he write books and get money if he's a socialist? Like, how dare he call himself a socialist if he's a millionaire? That he's a hypocrite, without mentioning any of the other millionaire or multi-millionaire, I'm talking about hugely millionaire candidates. They never mentioned Nancy Pelosi. They never mentioned Dianne Feinstein, who's actually a billionaire.
Yeah. You know what somebody said today, Carly Sewell? She goes, how come nobody's ever asking to see Joe Biden's tax returns? What's going on with that?
Yeah, where are they? But if you demand that, you must be a Trumper.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you Russian bot. How dare you? And, about Joe Biden, you know what I'm saying? How come nobody talks about his age? You know what I mean? He's okay. What is he, 2 years younger, a year younger than Bernie? Mm-hmm. Please, nobody says any of this stuff. It's so hypocritical. But let's take a look at this Politico article you said. And I think this is anti-Semitic as fuck.
Exactly. So I want
Bernie Sanders.
Point it out. Might still be cheap, but he's sure not poor. And they have 2 houses next to him and a third house down there representing his houses. And
look at that.
This is just one picture. There's another picture where they put money next to him.
Yeah.
And they said Bernie Sanders has 3 homes, and this is a Twitter one, and a net worth approaching at least $2 million.
That's like nothing. That's like nothing.
In a strict bottom line sense, he has become one of those rich people against whom he has so unrelentingly rallied.
Okay, well, the point of the matter is that how he made his money should be looked upon. He didn't do it by supporting fracking or putting shit into the air. He didn't do it off the backs of workers. He made a big sum of money on selling a best novel.
Yep.
What's wrong with that?
Talking about the corruption in the government.
No shit. I mean, seriously, what's wrong with that? He didn't make it off the backs of anybody. He didn't exploit anybody to make it. That's the whole point. It's like, listen, a democratic socialist says you can make money. You just can't exploit the environment. You can't exploit people. You got to protect workers, and you got to pay your fair share. He paid his fair share, and they said, well, why don't you pay more? He laughs because what are you going to do with the money? If you give money to the government now, what are you going to do with it? Spend it on war. I'd rather have Bernie give his donation as out to whoever he wants to.
That's the thing. And he's not going to apologize for war. And that's the wonderful thing about that. And, I want to point out what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said, because she did come to his defense, and I was very happy about that.
Yay, OC!
She said, can Politico explain to us how photoshopping money trees next to the only Jewish candidate for president, I guess Marianne Williamson is also one, and talking about how cheap and rich he isn't anti-Semitic? Or are they just letting this happen because he's a progressive politician they don't like?
Boom.
And then she went on to talk about how they also selectively enforced rules against anti-Semitism on the left, pointing to the numerous lawmakers and others who demanded apologies from Ilhan Omar over remarks she made about Israel. Oh, so we're only going to defend people of color, or we're only going to defend Jewish people, and we're only going to defend black people when it suits our political motive.
Yep.
And if you don't understand that by now, like, it is very clear. It is very clear what they're doing here.
Where you at, Chuck Schumer? Where you at? Chuck Schumer. Where you at? Please. Disgusting. Hypocritical, two-way. Oh, fam. So let's talk about some events coming up. What do we got coming up? Let's tell the people what not and what's going on. Let's break it down. What we have in store, because we have a very, very big week coming up. I believe we have Aura Vasquez coming to the studios Wednesday.
She'll be here Wednesday. And then we also are going to the Democratic Convention. Niko House will be here before that. We're going to do some live videos, and then we're all going to go to the Democratic Convention and pretty much be there to stand against the establishment. They might kick us out.
We don't know.
Whatever the case, there's freedom of the press. And like, the one thing I do want to point out about Bernie that I don't have right now is that he did speak in favor of the First Amendment, and I believe he is listening to us. And it's important, especially going into, as independent media, into a place like the California Democratic Convention in San Francisco, which is taking place underground.
Yeah.
And you can't really go live there, so we're going to have to like film everything.
Yeah.
And it's going to be good. We're going to bring you guys as much information as possible, but you know how these politicians run away. They're always behind ropes. They're always trying to run away. And I know a lot of people are probably wondering about that tweet that I posted. I'm going to actually make an entire video explaining it, because because it's true. And Pasta, did you want to read it?
Leaked info from California Democratic clubs shows the establishment dens are using their data to unregister voters who recently switched to Democratic to vote for Sanders in 2016. This is how they rig it. Independents are voting for Tulsi or Bernie. Check your registration now. And guess what, fam? After a couple people checked their registration, they saw the registration was changed.
Yeah, and
right.
Some
just
people,
recently today they called us and said, "Yo, they changed our registration. Change it back."
And some people checked it and it was fine. But here's the thing. You constantly should check it, and you should check it especially right before it's voting time.
Yep.
Because I would recommend going to vote early. That way, in case there's anything, you have enough time to do this. It's sad, but these are the tactics we have to take. And I'm going to talk more about in depth with people that are actual witnesses that have seen this happen. And we're going to have them talk about this because a lot of people are their sources. This isn't a thing that is going to have some sort of New York Times writer talk about this because they're part of the establishment. You're not going to see this on MSNBC because they're part of the establishment. Yeah. And if I'm being called a conspiracy theorist, why is Rachel Maddow allowed on YouTube? Why is she allowed on Twitter? Like, why is she allowed in all these places? People are asking, like, for me to, like, stop spreading false information. This isn't false information. I'm very aware that Alex Padilla is the one that's controlling all of this. But that tells you something. He's part of the establishment. Yeah. And if you think he's playing fair, he's not. He did it in 2016, and he's not doing it now, which is why we're requesting a meeting with him. Progressives are requesting a meeting with him. And we'll gladly sit and talk to him. Okay. Calmly. We will.
Before we get to the 2 super chats, let me just say this much, fam. The reason why they're calling you a conspiracy theorist, the term was invented in 1964 by the CIA to debunk anybody talking or questioning the government. And that's what we're doing. We're telling the truth. We're telling you the question. Listen, if you have another logical explanation other than it was a data error for all these hundreds of thousands of votes being purged,
just a
mainly progressives around the world, just give me that reason. It's like Russiagate. What did Donald Trump do? Nobody's ever been able to tell me what he did to collude. Tell me what happened. Is it really a computer error? And then why did it always favor the Democratic establishment, not the progressives? Let's get to the super chats. First one, give me the blue one. Get it up nice and big. Can I see it? Okay. Is it gone? Huh?
Johnny will read them.
Johnny, go ahead and read the first one.
Ray Foley.
Yes.
They're going to cheat him again. Probably second ballot Israeli intelligence and Bill Gates Microsoft in charge of protecting, in quotes, 1/2 of the voting machines in 2020. Check it out.
Yep. We will check that out. Thank you so much, Ray.
Darren
Levy, that's our boy.
Pasta, make sure you don't get groped by Biden.
Oh, well,
I don't think he's his type.
Oh, hey.
He doesn't have that right hair. I mean,
that's a bunch of malarkey.
He doesn't have the right hair for that.
Yeah, I will get groped by Biden. We're going to get it on camera. Go ahead. Next one.
Ray Foley says again, need paper ballot backup.
And Tulsi's been floating that bill.
She has.
She's been floating that bill.
And why are none of her colleagues really supporting it?
Yeah.
Should be big news, right?
It should be
huge. And let me tell you something. Ruben Major, again, who ran against Alex Padilla, election integrity specialist, said his biggest concern is the registration. Something's going on. He said this months ago, almost a half a year ago. Okay? They're fucking with the registrations. Do you really believe it's fucking data capability? Fucking issues? No. I thought it was the Snowden thing because they got your digital footprint and they got the keys to the kingdom so they can spot who the Bernie voters are, but there's other ways and there's more eyes on them now. So they're going to look for every single fucking way they can do this.
And let me mention real quick. So a lot of us, because of the problems with the independent vote in 2016, we're encouraging people to register as Democrats. Because if you're a Democrat, it's less likely that they're going to mess with you, blah, 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 blah. However, if you're in a Democratic club, there is a roster. There are lists of who you are. And there are lists of club endorsements.
Yep.
And there are people in these clubs that have access to the establishment. And that is what we're going to talk about. That is what I'm going to tell you guys about in a later video, because it's so important that this isn't dismissed as some sort of like made up thing. A lot of things were dismissed. Assange is being called a conspiracy theorist. Snowden was called a conspiracy theorist. Chelsea Manning. Look what happened to these people. Look what happened to them. They are trying to tell you the truth. And the first thing they do is discredit the source.
Yep.
Okay, and then they manufacture consent.
Yeah.
Every time you see this pattern, you need to be aware of it, and you need to be aware of how to address it. And it's important to look for facts, and it's important to be factual, and it's important to have all the information.
Yeah.
But at the same time, our whole life, we've been lied to, all of our lives. Like, we've been lied to by the mainstream media. We've been lied to by politicians. If you expect to get the accurate information from the mainstream, it's not going to be accurate. Our Western history books are written from our point of view.
Yeah.
They're not written from the actual truth point of view.
Yeah.
So we always have to question the information that comes. And I welcome people to question things.
Everything. I mean, I'm not going to stand behind, like I said, we're not going to stand behind everybody's point of view. We're going to have disagreements and stuff like that, but we're going to question everything. You know, and Jesse Ventura talks about the Gulf of Tonkin. You know what I'm saying? All these lies, Lusitania, World War I. There's so many proof of all these things that you say, I'm not necessarily saying they're true or not, but you got to question them, because we always seem to go to war from a lot of these lies. You know what I'm saying? And we always seem to be killing people because of a lot of these lies. You know, and to think that they're not working in cahoots, like I said, what's going on right now is a little naive. Do we have any more super chats? Do we have one more? I think we did. Did we get them all?
Okay. And Memorial Day, Johnny, did you have anything for today?
Yeah, I do, actually.
Show your face when you're talking, honey. Come on, man. Look at Johnny Tsunami.
Okay, now, yeah.
A la El DeBarge is what Rocky Bellinger calls you now. It was like...
So, Memorial Day, we just want to say from the Convo Couch that we remember all those who have fallen and the innocent who have perished.
I love that, John. The innocent who have perished.
And, you know, I was doing my research on Memorial Day because I was trying to get a number of how many people, how many soldiers, you know, how many of our servicemen have died. But it's like more like in the thousands, whereas, you know, the other side has millions of dead.
Yeah.
And I was reading this article from this guy. His name is Daniel L. Davis, and in it he has this quote. It says, "American political leaders should esteem the lives of our service personnel so highly that they only put their lives at risk when the security of our country is in danger and a military response is necessary."
Exactly.
And I thought that that's something important that we should emphasize
And
today.
I think most people agree with you. And I think most people would agree with that. It is not the people that constantly want war. We have Republicans who voted for Trump because he campaigned as a non-interventionist.
Yeah.
So this isn't a left or a right issue. This is a peace or pro-war issue. You're either pro-peace or you're pro-war.
Yeah.
And right now, you must stand for peace. Because the last thing we need is to go kill more millions, because millions die abroad.
Yep.
Thousands die here. And if you support the troops, if you support veterans like Tulsi, you would be a peace candidate, and you would be a person that is standing against war, standing against proxy wars, standing against meddling in other people's governments. And we have to be more vocal about that and have an anti-war movement here. It has to grow. It has to grow. Because this is the last chance we have before people are so fed up that they're done. They're done.
Yeah. And just look at the stances of a lot of your elected officials when it comes to even the situation in Venezuela. Nancy Pelosi, Adam Schiff, the leadership, they're pro-war, they're pro-regime change, and we need to make that change. Please, ladies and gentlemen, go over to our Convo Couch YouTube. We know you on the MCSC network. We always love you there, but we would like you to help us out on our own personal YouTube as well. We do have a Facebook, a Twitter, an Instagram. Do we have anything else, my friend Johnny?
Yes. I kind of wanted to show this video, you know, they posted also.
Please do, buddy.
It says,
Convo Couch, Raw Cuts music here.
Which countries are selling the most weapons around the globe? Number 5 is China. Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Algeria are buyers. Germany, 6% of weapons sales, not too much, right?
Nope. A lot.
France,
of course.
81 different countries that they sold weapons to. Number 2, Russia, 22% of all weapons.
India.
Their biggest client is India, which is pretty interesting. Nobody sells more weapons than the United States of America. 30% of all international weapons are from us. And Saudi Arabia is our biggest client.
Yep. And Johnny, think about this. even though the United States Congress said it's not okay to do business with Saudi Arabia, again, weapons and whatnot, they all voted it down, whatnot. Trump just sold them a bunch of weapons just right now. He didn't care what they had to say. He doesn't need their approval. He just sent over a big shipment of weapons because in France, they protested at the docks and they wouldn't let those weapons go to Saudi Arabia. So what did Trump do? He said, don't worry, I got your back.
And just before we go, I want to leave you guys with this fact. Marie Le Pen won in France.
For the EU elections, yeah.
Yeah.
Her party, yeah.
Yeah, her party. But in Germany, we're seeing the Green Party leading. What I'm trying to tell you is that you are seeing populist movements both on the right and on the left. Centrists are losing. Are losing. They're just losing. And the only reason people go to the right is because they are sick and tired of the neoliberal policies.
Yep. These austerity programs.
And either an ultra leftist like a Sanders or a Tulsi is going to win, or it's going to be Donald Trump. If you put your odds on Biden, Warren, Harris, Buttigieg, any of these centrist establishment types, you are going to lose to Donald Trump. And you can see the writing on the wall throughout the rest of the world. This is happening all over the world. People are rising up because they're sick and tired. Yeah. And one side is going to win. So choose wisely which side you support.